Blue Beetle trailer. Top 10 things you may have missed. Blue Beetle, DC's next feature film, will be released in theaters on August 18th. This film will not only introduce the world to Blue Beetle, but James Gunn has stated that he will be the first character in the new DC universe, which will begin with Superman Legacy. It was recently reported that a new series of comics will be launched that will follow the tale of the Blue Beetle film. With the release of the final trailer, we get a closer look at the film's villain duo, some new background on the Scarab that grants him his powers, and more spectacular action sequences. The Blue Beetle clip is jam-packed with comic book Easter eggs and connections which indicate at its place in the larger DC universe. First off, the trailer teases DC's The Reach. Jaime remarks in the Blue Beetle teaser that everything right now feels out of reach. While this may be an ordinary statement, the words used hint at a prominent Blue Beetle enemy from the comics, the Reach. The Reach are cosmic conquerors that employ extremely advanced technology to invade and take over planets as introduced in Jaime Reyes' Blue Beetle mythos, but reckoned into previous Blue Beetle stories. The Scarabs were developed by the Reach and distributed to many planets. The Scarab's duty was then to identify local hosts and train them to be lieutenants for the Reach's invasion. Because Blue Beetle's Scarab was reckoned as a magical artifact during DC Rebirth, it's tough to predict how Blue Beetle's origin story will play out in the future DC film. That being said, linking Blue Beetle's Scarab's roots to alien conquerors plotting to take over the globe since the Dan Garrett Blue Beetle days would be the finest approach to unite all past Blue Beetles into one pretty straightforward story. It's unclear whether the Reach will appear in Blue Beetle in any way, but they may make fantastic Blue Beetle sequel antagonists. Up next, Cord Industries makes its debut. Cord Industries, along with Wayne Enterprises, LexCorp, Hold Industries, and Queen Consolidates, is one of DC's most important fictional corporations. Ted Kord was the second Blue Beetle in the current DC Comics universe. Working as Dan Garrett's apprentice, Ted Kord does not have abilities and he did not use the Scarab during his time as the Blue Beetle. However, Ted Kord is a wealthy man, and the Blue Beetle trailer implies that Cord Industries was researching the Scarab. It's unclear who will play Ted Kord in Blue Beetle, or if the second Blue Beetle will make an appearance at all. Followed by the movie shows Jaime Reyes' comic book Identity Twist. Jaime Reyes' version of Blue Beetle is distinct due to the fact his family is aware of his secret identity. Secret identities are common in the universe of DC Comics heroes. Clark Kent with his spectacles, Batman with Bruce Wayne as the genuine mask, and so on. When it comes to Jaime Reyes though, keeping his superhero exploits secret from his loved ones is unnecessary. The Blue Beetle teaser suggests that Jaime's family will witness the precise moment the Scarab combines with him, implying that Jaime didn't even have the opportunity to conceal these abilities. Moving on to, the Scarab is sentient and it also talks. Jaime Reyes was the primary character in Young Justice Season 2, also known as Young Justice Invasion. Young Justice's Blue Beetle story provided many people's first introduction to the character, and it also included the Reach as prominent villains. The Blue Beetle video implies that the Blue Beetle from Young Justice will serve as inspiration for the upcoming DC Universe film, including the premise that the Scarab is sentient and can communicate with Jaime. Jaime and the Scarab had the same voice in Young Justice. However, in Blue Beetle, the Scarab will be performed by a new as yet unnamed actor. Blue Beetle Graduation Day, the latest Blue Beetle individual comic book, was released by DC Comics ahead of the film's release date. Despite the fact this new Blue Beetle comic takes place in the standard DC Comics timeline, it features concepts and characters from the future film, as is common when a major DC film is about to be released. This includes Victoria Kord, Ted Kord's sister, whose motivations were unknown in the comic. But the Blue Beetle trailer almost confirms that the adversary would be Victoria Cord, Susan Sarandon, who wants to recover the Scarab, which has now combined with Jaime Reyes. Not to mention Ted Kord's Blue Beetle bug ship. The Blue Beetle bug ship, Ted Kord's superhero vehicle, is another important Easter egg in the Blue Beetle trailer. The existence of the Blue Beetle bug ship confirms that Ted Kord was a superhero at some point in the Blue Beetle chronology, though when and for how long is unknown. It's no surprise that Blue Beetle's ship resembles Watchmen's owl ship, as Night Owl was inspired by several DC characters, including Blue Beetle. The Blue Beetle ship, including everything else about the second Blue Beetle, has been developed by Ted Kord and is not the result of alien technology. Let's learn more about Dan Garrett's Blue Beetle costume. The first appearance of Blue Beetle, then known as Dan Garrett, was in Fox Comics' Mystery Men comics from 1939. The first Blue Beetle would appear in DC Comics decades later, in 1986's Secret Origins Volume 2, although it was based on the Charlton Comics version of the character. Dan Garrett was the original Blue Beetle in the mainstream DC Comics chronology, having found the Scarab during an expedition. Dan Garrett's Blue Beetle costume in the Blue Beetle teaser has significant lore implications, as it reveals that superheroes have been in this universe for some time. Coming up, we can also see Ted Kord's Blue Beetle costume. Ted Kord's Blue Beetle suit also makes an appearance in the Blue Beetle trailer. Ted Kord's Blue Beetle suit looks very similar to Dan Garrett's. However, Ted Kord doesn't possess any superpowers and has never used the Scarab to offer him any abilities. As a result, Ted Kord's Blue Beetle is more similar to Batman than Jaime Reyes' Blue Beetle powers, making the Blue Beetle's trailer Batman connection even better. It's unclear whether Ted Kord will appear in Blue Beetle, and if so, whether the upcoming DC film would include the second Blue Beetle in action. Next, the Blue Beetle trailer gives a reference of Batman, but we don't know which one. Jaime remarks in the Blue Beetle teaser that the Ted Kord Blue Beetle gadgets appear like something Batman might use, to which Rudy, played by George Lopez, responds, "Batman's a fascist." This discussion establishes Batman's existence in the Blue Beetle reality. The question is, where does Blue Beetle exist and happen in the universe? Blue Beetle, according to James Gunn via DC, is a marvelous part of the DCU, albeit the film's canon position in the new DC universe has yet to be confirmed. If Gunn's DC universe slate includes Blue Beetle, the Batman in discussion might just be the yet-to-be-cast one from The Brave and the Bold. Finally, you might be wondering, what are Blue Beetle's powers? The flying vehicle is known as the Bug, a personal airship owned by Ted Kord, the second Blue Beetle. He lacks superpowers because the Scarab did not unite with him. He, like Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, used his technology genius and family riches to fight crime. As a result, towards the end of the Blue Beetle trailer, there's a cheap shot at Bruce. No offense to Bat fans everywhere. Fans have speculated about the presence of their favorite version of the character, who could serve as a mentor figure to young Jaime. The Bug confirms his appearance in the film. The mysterious alien Scarab has made its way into ancient Egypt in comics, and archaeologist Dan Garrett, the original Blue Beetle, discovered it during excavation. It formed a relationship with him and bestowed upon him extraordinary abilities. This should dispel some of the character's unwanted similarities to Iron Man or Iron Spider. Blue Beetle and Scarab date back to the 1940s, during the golden age of comics, when the other figures had yet to be imagined. As seen in the trailer, the tentacled, protrusion-creating techno-organic suit is brilliantly designed. Not only is it incredibly comic accurate, but it also appears to be one of the most impressive supersuits we've seen on the big screen, thanks to a combination of parts prosthetic and CGI. Take notes once more, MCU. We hope that you enjoyed watching this video. Thanks for watching, and on that note, that's a wrap for this video. Which of these Easter eggs was the most unexpected one and surprised you the most? Are there any that we missed? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.